Hello, Terrence Pop here with another episode from, you guessed it, the Lair! Alright, where'd we leave off? Some more airborne stuff. The jumps, I think we got a few more good ones here. Now, in all the previous episodes around the airborne landings, I talked about tree landings. I've been fairly lucky. I've had 2 tree landings in all the jumps I ever did. Only one of them was I hung up there for a while, good 20 feet off the ground, and I didn't want to deploy my reserve and then crawl down there and, or if I just cut away, I could break my leg, so I had to wait it out and they came and got me. The other one, I don't remember where we were doing the jump at. It was with the 2nd Ranger Battalion. I got blown off to the edge of the drop zone, and on the edge of this particular drop zone, there were some trees, but they weren't really thick like they are, it was like 150 meters more, and it was like, pine forest. And, I went through all of the shit, and I did everything I could to avoid it. But sometimes you're just going to go where you're going to go, and there's nothing you can do about it. I don't care what you do. I did the 3-riser fucking slip on both sides. I did everything I could, and, the only thing I was able to do was not land in the big fucking trees and land in the small trees, which was actually, quite pleasant. Because they weren't all locked together, I didn't have to rip through a bunch of branches. They were actually spaced fairly reasonably apart. And this particular landing, the tree was just long enough, so when I came down, it hit my canopy, and I came down, and I thought I was going to hit the ground really hard, but it came down and I stopped at my toes, boom, just lightly touched the ground, and I just undid my canopy, dropped to the ground, and that was it. I tied a chem light to the parachute because I didn't want to rip it out of the tree because they told us not to do that because we were fucking up parachutes, and they were being kind of dicks about, that kind of thing. So I marked it with the chem light. I walked out, marked it with some engineered tape so they could bring the chute recovery vehicle by and find it. And then I just carried what I had to the chute recovery point and told them the deal. And after everyone was accounted for, I got in the vehicle and told them where my chute was. I think that there was like 3 other guys that were caught in the trees. And they were pretty much around where I was because that's the way the wind was blowing. And they just basically executed the drop a little bit too far to one side and didn't take into account the winds, which I'm sure they did in the beginning, but since this was later on in the evening, the winds always change from day to night. There's always some kind of weird breeze change, so it is what it is. So that's my experience with the tree landings. Now, I've seen the results of tree landings, and that's why I'm, adamantly opposed to landing in trees. We had a guy basically get a stick punched right through his fucking leg, missed his femoral artery. They had to fucking cut his ass out of the tree, and right off to the fucking hospital he went. I saw a guy get drug into barbed wire, which he was landed, too far off to the edge of the drop zone because he was avoiding trees. Went right in the barbed wire, and I think he got 27 stitches over 3 or 4 lacerations on his body, 1 on his neck, 2 on his chest, and I think 1 was on the arm that he put up to keep his face from getting all cut up. So this is serious fucking business, Whenever you defy gravity and you fuck with physics, it doesn't take much for bad shit to go fucking south, and your life can get fucked up, either temporarily for that particular jump to the rest of your goddamn life. So, it's serious business, and bad shit happens. Okay, this is this is one we were actually doing rehearsals for the Panama invasion. I don't remember where we were doing this at, but we had combat controller people attached to our sticks, which is Air Force. Basically, it's 1 or 2 Air Force guys. There was 1 on my stick and another one on the other side of the aircraft, and they basically have all of the equipment to run basically a air control tower out of a backpack, and on the ground they control everything, all the airspace around the airfield that we're taking up to a certain amount of feet and out so far. I don't know exactly what the regulations are. That's just what the guy explained to me. So it was just a 3-day period. We were doing 1 jump a day, and they were doing a full dress rehearsal on day 3. First day, I'm the last guy or the last ranger in the stick, and then they stick this air fucking combat controller guy behind me. Now I don't know what his fucking problem was, but he was a raging asshole. You know, jumping already is nerve-wracking, and I don't care what people say. Usually, most people don't like doing it because the Army has a way of taking all of the fun out of everything. Now, I'm just going to say that right now. So, you know, we go through all the jump commands, we're doing the deal, and this guy is like pushing me, and the light's not even green yet. I mean, he's like pushing me hard, and I'm resisting because I don't want to bang in front of the guys in front of me, and I'm like, hey, bud, you know, come on. It's not even green yet. Stop. So when the light does turn green, the guy like pushes me so hard that I like stumble and fall down on one knee and then have to get up and scramble out the door. I had a very bad exit. In fact, I went out and slammed in the side of the C-130, had a bunch of twists, chute opens, have to go through all the unfucklement of, you know, not getting choked out from the twists, and I land, I do my deal. And I tell the guy, you know, after action report, I go, bud, you don't need to push me like that. I fell down, and, you know, I had a bad exit from the aircraft. That shit's unsafe, man. Stop it. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, bro. Yeah. I'm like, okay, whatever, you long-haired fucking hippie. That's what we were referring to the Air Force guys when they had long hair, and all we had was like one stripe down the middle of our head that was not even long enough to come out between your fingers, which is basically a little shorter than what I have now. Second jump, motherfucker does the same fucking thing, except the second one was a night jump, which made it even more fucked up. Because now I have Dick Bad pushing me, stumbling out the door, and it's dark. I come out of the aircraft, unfuck myself, land, do my deal. After the action report, I tell the guy, I go, look, bud, if you fucking push me again, I'm going to push your fucking face in. I'm not even fucking around, because I'm going to get fucking injured, and I went through too much shit to get here to have some long-haired faggot like you fuck up my career. Fuck you. You know, he was an E5, and, you know, he told my squad leader, and my squad leader basically told me to fucking, you know, to suck it up. So I'm like, okay. Next day, full dress rehearsal. You know, we're doing about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Again, the dude starts pushing before we even fucking, you know, we fucking even get on the aircraft. And I mean, he starts pushing before he even turns green. You know, he's just freaking out. I don't know what this guy's deal is. So I have I'm holding on to my static line. Light turns green, pushes me. I fucking stagger forward a little bit. I remember I let go of my static line. I turn right around. Boom! Right in his fucking face. Turn around, grab my static line, go out the door. He was fucked up. They actually had to racetrack around so he could jump out. So we at the end of the fucking mission, you know, he's fucking whining. He's all bloody and all fucked up. And he's all whining about how I turned around and punched him and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, you know, they go to my squad leader. We saw the whole fucking thing. He knew the deal. He knew this guy was being a fucking raging dick. And I had warned him to stop it. And he you know, he wouldn't. And my squad leader was like, I didn't see shit. I didn't see any violence. Maybe he hit his face on the side of the aircraft. I don't know. So it was just his word against mine. And, you know that's not really going to go anywhere. He's an attachment. Yeah, he's in the Air Force, and I'm in the Army. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And hopefully that motherfucker learned a lesson. And any of you guys out there who are on jump status, don't fucking push people, you know, trying to go out the door, because you might get punched in the fucking face. I'm just saying, it's been known to happen. I don't know. Oh, shit. Okay. Here's another one. Now this involves a bad drop. After the Panama invasion, I got moved out from the platoon I was in to Webco, and I was basically a full-time sniper. And we were assigned basically he was the NCOIC of the machine gun crew, but he was basically de facto the guy who managed, you know, all of Webco for the most part. And old guy, we called him Cross-Eyed Fitz. Old regiment guy. He had no business being there. He was he was that old guy that just wouldn't give it up, and God bless him. Love the guy to death. We called him Cross-Eyed Fitz. And we were doing a jump, and he was on the third stick. I was on the first, so I'm on the ground, and I saw this whole thing fucking play out. So it was a C-141, full combat gear, still 6, 7 in the evening. It was still light out. 800 feet. He comes out with his stick. I don't know what was his chute opens. I think he had 2 or 3 blown panels, which is a bad thing. Basically, the parachute is sewed together in panels, and a T-10, you can lose 1 panel and you'll be okay. Any more than that, and you can choose to ride in what you got or pull your reserve. So he decides. He pulls his reserve. So he pulls that out. That fucking opens, and then that starts to streamroll too. So he's got the one with a couple blown panels coming down, and then the reserve is doing this. So he'd slow down and then go speed up, and and it just worked out that he hit the ground on one of the speed up things, and he broke a femur and his pelvis. And they thought he broke his back. So that's pretty serious. He was an old guy, but he's a good dude. So we all took it pretty hard. And I remember we went up to the hospital to see him a couple times, and they told him that he's probably gonna be paralyzed from the waist down for the rest of his life, and he wasn't really taking it well. He was very upset. And I came by to see him pretty much every second day for about a week and a half. Finally, I go in there, and I don't know what happened. Apparently that night, his spinal cord was not severed. It was just swollen real bad around the area because he had broke his pelvis. And what they had done is they had drilled into his pelvis and they put a cage around it. And since the accident, they were slowly moving the bones back together, so it would heal. That's when the swelling would come down, and when those bones finally came into place and they started healing, his nervous system turned back on. So I went in there, and he was just writhing in agony. And I asked him what was wrong, and he said it felt like his body from the waist down was being consumed by fire ants. And he requested copious amounts of whiskey, which I gladly went out and got for him. And he healed up. They medically retired him after that. I think it took like 18 months for him to go through the whole fucking deal. But he had more than 20, so it's not like he got ripped off or anything. He just wanted to stay in the military as long as he possibly could. Kind of like what I'm doing right now. So I understand how he felt about the whole thing, and I'm glad he wasn't paralyzed. I heard from him a few years later. He was doing something down in Florida, some tourist dive thing, and he was doing good for himself. So I'm glad it worked out for him. This is a quick one. You'll like this one. I call this basically the pre-ejaculators. I've seen bad exits on aircraft. Okay, I've seen guys go out early, but the funniest one I ever saw was when you do the ramp jumps. Now, normally, when you jump a C-130, they open the doors, either one side or both sides, and then you go out the doors, and you kind of fall out behind the aircraft. They also do one which is known as a ramp jump, where they just bring the back of the ramp down. So you see the ramp come down, and you see the world as it is, and you see the whole horizon doing shit like this, and then you basically, it turns green and you walk out. I'm like 3 back from the ramp, and then there's the 2 guys that are standing by to go. Now, when you're that far, back, and the ramp is open, there's wind, there's a lot of sound, you really can't hear much. And you can't see the green light because it's behind you, because you're just a couple feet in front of it, and you're basically, trying to keep your balance so you don't fall over, because you can't hold on to anything because you walk towards the middle of the ramp. So one of the guys, I don't remember his name, he had a habit of, he would yell. Guys do things to fight off fear and anxiety, and he would, every once in a while, he'd be like, ah, ah, ah. Okay, granted, it was unnerving, but that's his deal. We were used to it. Well, the guy who was standing in the door had just transferred in. He didn't know this guy did that. This was his first jump, and it didn't really dawn on us that we should have briefed this guy on what the fuck was going on. So this guy's standing there on the ramp, ready to go. This guy, started about 15 seconds into it. This guy, the light's not even green yet. It's not green. The guy does his usual, ah! Well, the guy up there in the standby position thinks it's go and goes out of the fucking aircraft. And literally, he goes out, and then there's that 2 seconds where everybody's like, what the fuck? Well, one of the other guys that was in his squad, you can't let him go out by himself, so he just said, fuck it, and I went out too. I didn't go out, I'm not that fucking stupid, but the guy went out with him, and apparently they linked up, and, he just wanted to make sure, if one guy's going to get fucking killed, it's better chance of two guys get killed, I don't know, but, yeah, it is what it is, and I really don't blame him. I mean, if it was one of my good buddies that went out early on the fucking tailgate, I probably would have followed him out and make sure he was good to go. Okay, because two guys, in theory, have a better chance of surviving than just one. Especially if one guy gets seriously incapacitated and can't do anything. Chances of both guys becoming seriously incapacitated are reduced. So I could see how that is. But there was a lot of yelling. There was some sworn statements. I was a new E5, so I'm just I don't know. I saw the whole thing. Guy tripped off. Guy thought he said go, and nobody got in trouble over it. They both were fine, and nobody got hurt. I think one of the chutes got tore up pretty bad, but that's what happens when you jump over. Hey, you're gonna get fucked land. That's just how it is. All right, so that's what I have for today, gentlemen. Hopefully you liked it. I'll talk to you later. Out.